Early voting is continuing in the high-stakes Texas Senate runoff election, which could have major implications in the fight for the United States Senate majority. The reverberations are still being felt across the political world after President Donald Trump endorsed Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. That endorsement dealt a massive blow to the incumbent U.S. Senator John Cornyn, who finished narrowly ahead of Attorney General Paxton in the Republican primary back in March to force a runoff election next week. The president talked about his decision to back Paxton on Wednesday.
We have a great candidate, I believe, in Texas, and I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially, and I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate.
At a White House press briefing on Tuesday, Vice President JD Vance said that the endorsement of Ken Paxton sent a message to elected officials who, quote, get out of step with voters or out of step with the president. He said, quote, that's not a good place to be politically. It was a warning shot, if you will, to those in Congress on the opposite end of Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House that the president won't tolerate dissent.
I've known John Cornyn for a long time, but unfortunately, when it really counted, Ken Paxton was there for the country, was there for the president, and that's why he ultimately earned the president's endorsement. He thinks he's going to be a better senator, thinks he's going to make a better candidate.
At a campaign event on Tuesday, Senator Cornyn said after the primary, the Republican Party he believes will unify, but he is concerned about November. Some GOP strategists have expressed concerns that Attorney General Paxton is a flawed candidate. He has been accused of abusing his office, impeached but acquitted by the Texas Senate, charged with securities fraud but resolved that with a pretrial deal, and is currently in the middle of a divorce initiated by his wife on biblical grounds. Paxton has consistently denied wrongdoing and blamed the attacks on left-wing enemies.
You may have seen that he endorsed Ken Paxton in this race, and I think that will certainly have an impact. But we're not giving up the fight. I know who gets to choose our senators, and it's the people of Texas, and there's no substitute for that.
Remember, back in March, President Trump was set to endorse Cornyn, and then Paxton made a risky play. He said that he would consider dropping out of the race if Senate leadership dropped the filibuster and was able to pass the Save America Act, a priority for President Trump. Fast forward a few months, Paxton has the president's endorsement with less than a week to go before Election Day.